In this video, we will learn how to create Gantt charts in Microsoft Excel. To create a Gantt chart, you need the task name, start date and end date. I have all of them here on this sheet. So let me insert some rows above this data so that I can set the stage for making a Gantt chart. I will insert the project start date in cell D1. Then I will copy the same date to the cell below. Now I will change the formatting of this cell to display just the date, not the month, not the year. So I will press Ctrl 1 on the keyboard to open the Format Cells dialog box. Then go to Custom Formatting and type 2 times D here. Click on OK and notice the change in the format. The date is displayed. Only the days are displayed. I will display the 7 days of the week by dragging this cell to other cells and make this cell wider by merging the 7 cells. Now I will display the date in these cells in the form of text. So I will use the text function equal text start parenthesis value is this, comma, format of text, it is D 3 times. That means I want Excel to display first 3 letters of the day. Then I will copy this formula to other cells on the right. If I want, I can also force Excel to display first letter of the day. For that I need to use the left function. So I will use the left function here. The text function will be the first argument to the left function and 1 will be the number of characters. Now I will copy this formula to other cells on the right. Now I will compress the columns which represent the timeline of the Gantt chart. Click on this merged cell and press Ctrl and spacebar on the keyboard to select the entire column. But before I compress the timeline for the Gantt chart, let me create a longer date range by dragging the date range to the cells on the right. Now I will click on the border of any selected columns and drag the cells to the left to compress the timeline. Now let me again increase the date range. I will bring the cursor to the top right corner of the selected range, then drag the cells to the right. Having created the timeline, I will now give a little bit of formatting to the timeline. I will select the timeline and give a fill color of my choice to it. Let me also make the text bold and change the text color to white so that the text stands out. Let me also change the formatting for the date range above so that date range for 1 week stands out from the date range for another week. I will select the date range for a week, then press Ctrl 1 on the keyboard to open the Format Cells dialog box, then give an outline to the date range. I will change the fill color for these cells to light blue. Also make the text bold so that it stands out from the rest. Now I will use the Format Painter to copy the formatting to the other cells. Up till now it was all preliminary work. Now let us start making the actual Gantt chart. We will select the timeline area, then go to conditional formatting and click on new rule. Then click on use formula to determine which cells to format and type our formula in the formula box. We will give a fill color to the cells in this selection if they meet a particular criteria. The criteria is that the date should be between the start date and end date of a task. Let me make things simple here. We will give a fill color to this cell if the date above falls between this date and this date. So I will use a formula accordingly in the formula box. And start parenthesis D2 is greater than equal to B4, comma, D2 is less than equal to C4 and close the parenthesis. Here I need to make the column relative for cell D2 and row relative for cell B4 and for cell C4. This adjustment in the conditional formula is required because the formula will adjust for the entire selection of cells. Then after this tricky part, everything is simple. I will set the fill color to dark blue here. Also I will set white border in between rows so that the data bars are separate, they look separate. Then I will apply this conditional formatting. I will click on OK and OK. And that is it. Here is your Gantt chart. Notice here that this Gantt chart is dynamic. For example, if the end date changes here from 7th of Jan to 10th of Jan, the Gantt chart will adjust accordingly. At last, there is one more step which I have skipped earlier. Notice here that this week starts from 8th of Jan. However, there is 2nd Jan in the date cell here, so I will adjust this cell So I will write down a formula equal to this cell plus 7 because there are 7 days in a week. Hit enter, then copy this formula to other cells, and that's it. So this is how you can create dynamic Gantt charts in Microsoft Excel. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing the channel if you aren't subscribed yet. It really makes a huge difference. Thanks for watching the video till end.